Hello class, this is Mrs. Gallegos, and today we are going to have a tutorial about significant figures. You can find this information also written in your textbook in Chapter 2, Section 3, pages 38 to 39. Significant digits are numbers that are recorded from a measuring device. Here we see a picture of a graduated cylinder. If I record from this graduated cylinder, I will get a measurement, and if I look at the bottom of my meniscus and I look straight on, I see that this measurement is 4, and since this is 5, then I know these smallest measurements are tenths. So this is 4.5 plus a little bit more, and I'm going to say that's 7. So these are all significant digits. These two are certain because I used the lines or graduations on my instrument to tell me that I had a 4.5. However, there's a space in between here, and since my volume falls in between these two spaces, I must recognize that I don't know the exact number, but I'm going to guess this last digit. And so we call this uncertain. But all of these digits or numbers are significant because they came from a measurement. Now, how do I determine the number of significant digits in a measurement that's given to me? Well, there are 5 simple rules. The first rule is all non-zero numbers are significant. So for example, this measurement has all non-zero numbers, so I know that it has 3 significant figures, 2 certain and 1 uncertain. All zeros that are captive between 2 significant figures, whether they are significant figures that are non-zero numbers or significant zeros, are significant. So here I have a 6 and I have a 5, and this 0 is captive. So it is a significant figure, therefore this number has 3 significant figures, or digits. Final zeros. Now these are tricky. Final zeros after the decimal place are significant, and I'm talking about the very last 0. I could also have a number like this, 0.0620. These zeros are not the final zeros after the decimal point. Therefore, this 0 is holding place, and this 0 is just there to show me that there is a decimal place to follow. So this number has 3 significant figures. Placeholder zeros. Zeros that act as placeholders are never significant. So here we have my placeholder 0. This is telling me that this number is in the hundredths place, so it means 2 out of 100, not 1 out of 100. This 0 again is not even a placeholder 0, it's just telling me there's a decimal point to follow. So this number would have 3 significant digits. This number, notice this 0 is the last 0, but it's not, there's no decimal point here. So this 0 is just holding the place, telling me that this 2 is not in the ones place, but is in the tens place, and therefore it is equal to 20. So here I have 3 significant digits. Now counting numbers. Your book doesn't talk about this, but if I'm going to be having a number that's not a measurement, but simply a counting number like 10 apples or 6 molecules, these numbers have an infinite number of significant figures, and I never use them when I'm considering significant figures in answers, when I have to add 2 numbers that have significant figures. So counting numbers, and then have an infinite number of significant figures. The other numbers that do are constants, like pi, or like the speed of light, 3.0 times 10 to the 8 meters per second. I could draw that number out to an infinite number of digits. And so we don't even consider them as having significant digits that we have to consider. They are infinite. So those are counting numbers and constants, and we'll be using a lot of constants. We don't need to consider their significant figures. Now you try. Go ahead and figure out if you can tell me how many significant figures are in this number. Go ahead and pause the video, write your answer, and then see if you get the right answer. Did you say that your answer was 4? You're correct. If you said 3, you didn't consider that last 0 after the decimal point is significant. And that would be a measurement showing that the meniscus, if this was a measuring liquid, which it is because it's liters, is exactly on the line measuring the 1 milliliters. That 8 is exactly on the line. Next one. How many significant figures are in this number? Go ahead and pause the video and count and see what you come up with. Did you come up with 7 significant figures? So if I count them, let's check this 0. It's significant because it's captive between the 2 and the 4, which are significant figures. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Then this 0 and this 0 are significant because this final 0 is significant, and that means that these 2 are captive between this significant 4 and this significant 0. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 significant figures. How many significant figures are in this number? Go ahead and pause the video and see if you can figure it out. If you said 5, you were correct. Once again, this is a captive 0 between 2 non-zero numbers, so it is significant. These 2 zeros are the last zeros after the decimal point, and they are significant. So I have 5 significant figures in that number. Alright, last one. How many significant figures are in this number? Go ahead and pause the video and see if you can figure it out on your own. If you answered 3, you are correct. These zeros, even though they are final zeros, they are not final zeros after a decimal point. Therefore, they are just placeholder zeros. And this number is significant, and this number is significant, and this 0 is because it is in between these 2 significant digits. We have 3 significant figures. Alright, go ahead and see if you can try the worksheet that we started in class today on your own, and we'll check answers when we get back to class on Monday.